We are making this chicken parmesan soup, and yes, you heard that right. Into your slow cooker, add in a pound of chicken breast. Next, add in a tablespoon of minced garlic. Now add in a 15-ounce can of tomato sauce. After you add that can right in there, add in 28 ounces of crushed tomatoes. For the seasonings are super simple, but this is so bold and so flavorful. It's a teaspoon of salt, teaspoon of pepper, and 2 teaspoons of Italian seasoning. Give this a good stir and cook this on low for about 6 to 7 hours. And once the cooking time was about up and my chicken was cooked through, I totally realized that I forgot to add in 5 cups of chicken broth. I can't believe that, but I'm just shredding up my chicken now with a meat masher, or you could shred it with 2 forks, and then I'm adding in my 5 cups of chicken broth that I didn't add in earlier. After that, I'm going to add in 8 ounces of elbow pasta, or you could use any type of small pasta that you like, and then a cup of heavy cream, or half and half if you would like it creamy. Then go ahead and add in a cup of Parmesan cheese. Give this a stir and let this cook on low for about 30 more minutes, or until the pasta is tender. While the pasta is cooking in this slow cooker, to make this more of an authentic chicken parmesan to this pan on my stove, I added 2 tablespoons of butter along with a half a cup of Italian style breadcrumbs. I'll let the butter melt down, and I'm going to let these breadcrumbs cook for a few minutes. This sprinkled on top of the soup is just so magical. These breadcrumbs are so delicious once they become a deeper color like this. But now that my noodles are tender, you could just serve this gorgeous soup up. Once we placed the soup in a bowl, we sprinkled the top with some of those breadcrumbs and mozzarella cheese. This is such a delicious, hearty soup. This is not your average, boring soup. This is so good, and if you're a chicken parmesan fan, you will devour this. It seriously does resemble it. Now we're making these slow cooker stuffed peppers, and holy moly, to a pan on the stove, add in a pound of ground beef, or you could use ground chicken, ground turkey, or any meat substitute that you'd like. Break that ground beef up and cook it through. Once it's cooked through, just remove any excess grease from the pan. Then you're going to add in 6 ounces of tomato paste. If you know tomato paste, it's hard to get out of a can, so open up the top and bottom, then push the bottom part of the can through, and it gets all the tomato paste out. It's great. Then add in a 10-ounce can of Rotel along with a half a cup of uncooked white rice. Then add in a 1/4 cup of brown sugar. The brown sugar adds so much great flavor. Then a tablespoon of minced garlic, 1 cup of chicken broth. Now for the seasonings, a teaspoon of paprika, a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of pepper, and then give this a little stir. You're not cooking everything through at this point. Next, you're going to add in 1 diced yellow onion, and then you're going to give this an additional stir just to get the tomato paste well combined, all throughout the dish. But set it to the side. We're working on the bell peppers now. So you're going to cut the top off the bell peppers and remove the insides of the bell peppers. You're not going to cut the bottom part off of the bell peppers at all, because you don't want the ingredients to fall through the bell pepper. So leave it whole besides the top. This makes for about 6 bell rice. We served this alongside of asparagus on the side that I steamed. This is so good served in a baked potato. If you've never tried it like this, you need to. I've been on such a potato soup kick recently, so now we are making this warm and cozy potato soup. To begin, peel and cube your 6 russet potatoes, dice a yellow onion, bring these over to a slow cooker and add them right into your slow cooker. Next, you're going to add in 4.5 cups of chicken broth. After you add your chicken broth right in there, go ahead and toss in 4 tablespoons of sliced butter. After that, add in a tablespoon of minced garlic, a teaspoon of salt, and a teaspoon of pepper. This potato soup recipe is really easy. Cook this on low for about 6 hours. After the cooking time is up, you are just going to get started on this creamy mixture. So into this bowl, add in a cup of heavy cream along with 1/3 cup of sour cream, and then a little bit of flour or cornstarch. This will help thicken up the soup. Give it a really good stir. Now add that creamy mixture right into your slow cooker, stir it super duper well, and you're going to let this cook on low for about 20 more minutes. This is going to help thicken up the soup and kind of make it your traditional like creamy potato soup. And then something that we like to do is after those 20 minutes, I like to mash up the potatoes a little bit just so they're not all big and chunky still. So if you have a potato masher or a meat masher, mash up some of those potatoes if you like, and then you could serve this beautiful potato soup up. We topped ours with a little bit of shredded cheese, black pepper, and then sliced green onions and bacon bits, but top your potato soup with any toppings that you love. Potato soup is like such comfort food for me in the fall and winter. I can make it non-stop. It is just so rich and creamy. Now we're making my favorite beef stew. I actually made it for my parents and my siblings on this night, so I kind of made a lot of it, but they asked me to make this and bring it to their house for dinner just because they like it so much. I started out by peeling and cubing my russet potatoes and my carrots. Now I'm searing my meat. I'm using about 2 pounds of beef stew meat right now. I added it to a large pan with 2 tablespoons of hot olive oil in the pan. I'm seasoning it with a dash of salt and pepper, and you're going to want to sear this on a high heat for a few minutes just to kind of get a caramelized crust on the outside. I don't always sear my meat before I add it into my slow cooker for beef stew. You could do it if you have a little bit of time, but if you don't have time, don't feel like you need to do it. I know how wild the mornings are with little ones sometimes, but this recipe is also on page 145 in my cookbook. It's in the slow cooker section. You could also do this beef stew just in a pot on the stove, but I have over 100 of my family's favorite recipes in this cookbook if you don't have one yet, and there's 8 different sections. But here's what your meat will be looking like once there's like a golden brown crust on the outside. It's not going to be completely cooked through, just seared on the outside. So now go ahead and add this meat right into your slow cooker. You're also going to add in the potatoes and carrots that we just cut up earlier. After you add the potatoes and carrots into your slow cooker, you're going to add in a diced yellow onion along with a 1.5 cups of frozen peas. This beef stew is great because you could always add different veggies. If you don't care for these veggies, you could always use different veggies. Really make it your own. Then I added in 8 ounces of tomato sauce followed by 3.5 cups of beef broth. Then add in 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce. Then for the seasonings, I'm going to add in a teaspoon of paprika, then 2 teaspoons of dried thyme. After you add that thyme in there, add in 2 teaspoons of dried rosemary. The rosemary really kicks this up a notch. I normally add in 2 bay leaves, but I was all out of bay leaves, so give this a good stir and let this cook all day on low for about 8 hours. Your house will be smelling so good. Once the 8 hours is up, you could either serve it up now, or if you kind of want it a little bit thicker, remove some of the broth in the slow cooker, then stir in about 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour flour. Once it is super duper well combined and that flour is basically smooth, add it right back into your slow cooker and then give this a stir. Let it cook for 20 minutes and then you can serve it up. Like I said, if you don't want to do the flour slurry, you absolutely don't need to. But I made this beef stew for quite a few people on this night, and everybody, even the little ones, absolutely loved it. This is such a great, delicious meal. Whenever I'm in charge of making a meal for my family's house, quite a few times they ask me to bring this just because it's so yummy and hearty in the wintertime. We also serve this with a side salad and dinner rolls. There was nothing left of the soup once everybody was through eating it, but if you do have some left, it freezes super duper well. Now we're making this chicken spaghetti, so right into a slow cooker, add in 1 can of cream of chicken soup, then add in 1 can of cream of mushroom soup. After you add both of those cans right in there, go ahead and add in 1 can of Rotel. I do want to let you know the stores nowadays have like gluten-free cream of soups. They have reduced fat ones and reduced sodium ones if you're looking for those. But also I'm adding in 4 ounces of cubed cream cheese, then add in 2 teaspoons of Italian seasoning. Give this a stir. I know this doesn't look super beautiful right now, but you just have to trust me. One of my little ones said this one was her favorite meal this week. But I'm going to add in my 1 pound of chicken breast right now. Just add them right into the center of your slow cooker. Let this cook on low for about 5 hours or until the chicken is cooked through. Also, I do want to let you guys know, if you have my cookbook and you haven't looked at the back pages yet, in the back of it I do have some homemade cream of soups recipes. So if you want to make them from home, you could even make them from home and freeze them. That would work super well, but these are great substitutes. I also have different like substitutes in the back if you want to try those. But once my chicken was cooked through into a large boiling pot of water on the stove, I added in 12 ounces of spaghetti and I'm just going to let it cook through at this point. Now remove that chicken from the crock pot and place it on a plate. You could either shred or chop that chicken up into smaller pieces. I know it doesn't look super glamorous right now, but seriously, this is so good. You just have to trust me. Sometimes not the most beautiful meals in the world turn into the most delicious meals in the world, but right into the slow cooker, I added in a 1/2 cup of shredded cheese along with 3/4 cup of mozzarella cheese. Then go ahead and add in that chopped chicken. Give this a really good whisk until everything is smooth and well combined. Then add in your cooked spaghetti. Give it a good stir to get that spaghetti coated in that delicious rich sauce. Then you could serve this easy dinner up. Anytime I make this chicken spaghetti, it just turns out so rich, bold, and delicious. It is so good and yummy. I served it alongside a steamed broccoli. This is also kind of like a pantry staple dinner. A lot of the ingredients you might already have on hand. It is so good.